Hi everyone, back again, a new video, this time around a very sensitive topic, the potential end of the enterprise agreement and what that would maybe look like. I have some thoughts on this that I want to share. I thought it would be best to do that through a video. We have a lot of material around this change as well. Do check out, for instance, our blog on the MCA-E, which we update frequently. We've recently updated it again with the latest news. So yeah, check that out. Let me pull up some stuff and then we can get started. There we go. So in order to understand what Microsoft is doing, we need to understand a few things. So if you're not aware on what an enterprise agreement is, I highly suggest you read into it, but I am going to assume for the sake of this video that you all know what an enterprise agreement is. The enterprise agreement, obviously having been around for so long, it's the go-to for many large organizations, or had to be the go-to for many large organizations, I should say, in the past. And it will remain in effect for another few, definitely years. And I'll explain a little bit more on why I think that's going to be the case in the coming minutes. But there are reasons for Microsoft wanting to phase out the EA. So it's a very old program. It's been created first and foremost for the time when Microsoft was still a on-premises software solution provider. It hasn't really caught up with what Microsoft is right now, namely a cloud solution provider, or a cloud services provider, I should say. So all the services that Microsoft has are all, except for maybe one or two items that they're still focused on cloud. So everything is SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, and behind that, maybe we look at like DevTools, SQL Server, Windows Server, and things like that. But Microsoft has fully shifted away from the on-premises world, except maybe a few countries and regions in the world where they are still lagging behind a little bit. So having said that, the enterprise agreement was a contractual, or is a contractual agreement for organizations with more than 500 users and devices, and it will remain that in the near future. And the reason it was created was it provides simplified volume licensing and extended benefits. Does it still do that today? Yes. Does it do that for the things that you need it for? Maybe not so much. A couple of issues that arise with the EA is, for instance, it has a mapping of one tenant to one enrollment. So you cannot assign multiple tenants to one enrollment, for instance. And a lot of organizations worldwide have multiple tenants and want to have that flexibility of buying for those tenants under the enterprise agreement. Microsoft created a solution for it called multiple tenants under one enrollment, where you allow multiple billing enrollments, but it's not a flexible solution, basically. So Microsoft has been looking at this for a long time. How do we change from that more rigid enterprise agreement into something new? And they have been doing that for many years, because when I started at Microsoft in 2011, this was already the talk of the town. Like MPSA was supposed to be the successor of the enterprise agreement, until somebody pulled the plug because it wasn't performing as well as it should be. And then the MCA came. And with the MCA, a lot of things changed. So reasons for phasing out the enterprise agreement. Well, Microsoft has announced that as of January 1st, 2025, they're going to start slowly phasing out some of the companies who are allowed to sign enterprise agreements, basically. So what they're doing, companies that currently buy cloud only, so no on-premise services, only cloud licenses through their enterprise agreement, are prime targets to move to the MCA. Why? Because the MCA is mainly built around buying cloud. As you might be aware or not, The MCA stands for Microsoft Customer Agreement, and the Microsoft Customer Agreement is the base, the foundation layer of the new Microsoft contracting for any type of organization. Biggest MCA player right now is the CSP model. So CSP is built on top of the MCA. The new commerce experience that they released in CSP changed the CSP foundation, and base layer is now the MCA. With the change from enterprise agreement to a direct model in MCA through the MCA-E, so Microsoft Customer Agreement for Enterprise, Microsoft is joining the party. So not only are you able to use the MCA through partners to purchase your services, you can now directly purchase from Microsoft. And this is a very important subject because if we pull up, and allow me to switch here for a sec, the blog that we wrote on this, you can see, if we scroll down, the model that Microsoft wants to adhere to. So eventually, Microsoft envisions a model where Microsoft customers on the right want to purchase Microsoft services on the left, and they can do so through one contractual foundation. But the choice is, do you want to purchase through a partner, through Microsoft-led, or through self-service? That doesn't matter. You can do all three, and you can do all three through what Microsoft calls the MCA. So the MCA model is the foundation, and you decide what you want to work with or how you want to purchase it. Self-service, of course, as the name says, you go to the Microsoft website, you purchase the services you want, you check out, you start using. Typically for smaller companies, not really for the Fortune 500. Microsoft-led, the model you know right now, if you're a big organization and you have a direct link and Microsoft account team available to you, selling you an enterprise agreement, that will move to the MCA-E. So you will purchase through the MCA-E through Microsoft, and you can do so in multiple ways. We'll talk a bit more about that later. Finally, the CSP model. So you can decide on a Microsoft partner. You can ask them to purchase the services on your behalf from Microsoft. They will pass it along to you. They will send you the bill. They might use a markup on that price, but basically the model as it should be according to Microsoft. So the material that Microsoft has on the Microsoft Customer Agreement is quite extensive already. So mainly, first and foremost, why choose the Microsoft Customer Agreement? It's built for cloud services, and unlike a traditional licensing agreement in several ways, it's simple. The agreement is simple. So Microsoft saying the enterprise agreement was too difficult, is too difficult. It should be simplified. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I think they succeed in this new model. It should be flexible. Instead of complex agreement, the MCA gives you the flexibility to buy new products and services as your needs change. So the base contract will be a set of terms and conditions, and the terms and conditions will be extended upon based on the type of service you purchase. So you can start with, for instance, M365. Microsoft will attach the M365 terms and conditions to your contract. If you don't need anything else, that's it. If you purchase Azure, Azure clauses come into effect. So you can basically stack on the terms and conditions for the services and the products that you're going to be using. Flexibility does go in different directions as well. So for instance, flexibility around purchasing model. So do you want to purchase license on a monthly basis, on an annual basis, or even right now, which was recently announced, on a triannual basis? So M365, E3, and E5, for instance, as of April 1st, 2025, can be purchased on a 3-year subscription model. So giving you that price protection for 3 years in the MCA-E contract as well. And finally, it's an evergreen contract. It doesn't expire. So you sign up to it, it will remain in effect. So no longer do you have to go into a new renewal discussion with Microsoft every 3 years. You only have to go into a renewal discussion when the term of the license that you have purchased And if you want, you can also decide to then, for instance, move to a CSP partner if they have more attractive pricing. The world's your oyster in that regard. So, yeah, what else? Introducing the Microsoft agreement for enterprise and that contractual model. We have created some slides on this. So it looks a bit like this. And maybe I should remove my face. On the left-hand side, you have the typical enterprise agreement and its complex structure. So you have to sign a Microsoft Business and Services Agreement, an enterprise agreement, an EA enrollment. You had all your affiliates, you had different tenants, you had different invoices per tenant, etc., etc. Microsoft's now saying that if you sign the MCA, you just signed an MCA contract. You get one tenant, you can add multiple tenants. It doesn't really matter. You decide and you set it up the way you want it to. So if you have multiple tenants, you have multiple affiliates, you have multiple departments, you can do it however you want. You can even then split the billing as well. And this is one of the key features why I think this is a very nice improvement in a program that is worth looking into, because you can just create your invoices according to the way that you want to. You will no longer just get one invoice from Microsoft and figure it out. Now, the invoice you can specify yourself. These licenses need to be charged there. These licenses need to be charged there. It will give you that level of granularity, and it will hopefully remove a lot of issues that companies now have with the credits and collections team of Microsoft side. So yeah, that's a very interesting thing for the enterprise agreement. Of course, doing this and making this change, will have an impact. So where was I going with this? I lost the plot, but it doesn't matter. Let's just leave it here where we are. It's going to be challenging, difficult. That's why I think the coming years are going to be very interesting to watch, to see how it's going to evolve. There's a transition process. You need to understand, if I move from an enterprise agreement to an MCA-E, or maybe I want to go to CSP, how does that transition work? What's going to change? What are the differences? We are here to help, obviously, but to give you some feedback on how we position this. We, with our clients, look at the enterprise agreement terms and conditions, look at this MCA-E and or CSP terms and conditions, do an overlay, see where the gaps are. What special custom terms do you have in your enterprise agreement, and can something like that exist in the MCA-E or CSP? If not, and potentially not, especially not if it's custom terms, you should stay in an EA. However, if you don't have any specific terms and conditions in your enterprise agreement, you're buying mainly cloud-based products, then getting an MCA-E offer from Microsoft is a very interesting thing to look at. Why? Because the pricing model in MCA-E works differently as well. Now, a lot of people have been shouting, fire, this is not going to work out well. But I'm here to tell you that I'm not sure that it's negative per se. So what everybody's calling out for is that in the EA model, you had published price lists for different currencies. So you had the US dollar price list, and they published a monthly euro price list and a GBP price list, etc. So you could get a copy of the price list, and you knew, okay, if I am to buy in GBP, these are the prices. If I buy in euro, these are the prices. Now, switching to the MCA-E model, Microsoft will maintain just one price list and use a currency exchange calculation to calculate your invoice into your local currency. That might bring with it an FX risk, but Microsoft does it in such a way that that risk can be minimal or minimized. Specifically, they bill you at the end of the month with the rate for the FX at the start of that month. So for instance, at the end of February, I get my invoice. Microsoft looks back what the rate was for for instance, USD to Euro conversion at the beginning of the month and invoices me at that value. So at the beginning of the month, I can already understand what my FX rate is going to be. Now, yes, the FX rate effect might be there, so it might be a negative effect for you, but do we already know how Microsoft is going to handle triannual subscriptions, for instance? I have not seen anything in that regard. If they say, okay, we're locking the pricing for multiple years, that's good with me. Additionally, pricing might become very attractive. As we already know, CSP pricing for companies in level A, B, and sometimes even C, depending on your current discounts that you get on top of the standard list price from Microsoft. CSP pricing might be very attractive already, and we know Microsoft is using the similar prices as list price CSP in MCA-E. So it might be that your MCA-E offer is going to be very attractive. If you can even negotiate that further with Microsoft, so see if you can get some of the margin out of it, who knows where you'll end up. So I see a lot of positives in at least investigating if MCA-E is an option for you, not just based on pricing, but also, like I said, the invoicing model, the multiple tenants under one contract. You can set it up any which way you want to. You can make use of monthly billing, annual billing, triannual billing. So you can play around with all the different billing models to get something in place that makes sense for your organization. So concluding, I don't think that the change into MCA-E is a negative one. I also don't think that the EA is going to be gone at the blink of an eye. It's going to take years, especially for larger organizations with big custom agreements. That's just not possible yet in MCA-E. So as long as that's not a possibility, those companies will need to remain on something like the enterprise agreement, which is a rigid behemoth of a contract, but it does serve that correct purpose. Microsoft can still make very custom changes to that contract if you get it approved, of course. And as such, very large Fortune 500 companies probably will always remain in that EA contract for at least another 3 to maybe 6 years, maybe even longer, who knows? Maybe it will always be around. I don't want to speculate on that. I do think that Microsoft will do everything they can to bring as much companies to the MCA-E as possible, because it gives you more flexibility, it gives you more ease of use, and it gives them the same thing. Additionally, what I don't know yet, but I'm trying to figure out, I don't know what insights they are getting on the back end through the MCA-E contract, but I imagine it's a lot better than what they are used to getting from the enterprise agreement contract, which is basically ZIP. So there might definitely be benefits for Microsoft there as well. I think for now, that's where I want to leave off. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope this was enjoyable and you learned something. And if you have any questions around this, you know where to find me. See you on the next one. Bye.